Hi, I'm Ben,
And I'm Zach.
and welcome to the Movie Vault.
Today, here we have David.
Hi, everyone.
And we are going to be reviewing.
Halloween, the 2018 movie directed by David Gordon Green. Not to be confused with the original 1977 version that was directed by John Carpenter.
Yes, and we will explain that mistake. This movie is a movie that is a sequel to another movie which already had sequels to it.
Not confusing at all. So, should we go into the story of how we ended up watching this movie?
We should.
So, if you weren't aware, we did have a little poll going on the Instagram, and we got some results. But then we found out about this little theater down in South Columbus that was playing a couple horror movies, and one of them was Halloween, and one of them was Friday the 13th.
Well, it was a drive-in theater, so we went to this drive-in theater with our few friends, and we drive in. Obviously, it's very sketchy, by the way. And it was thunderstorming. Like
Yeah.
It was raining. It was raining pretty good, yeah.
Yeah, it was raining a lot. It was thunderstorming, and in their email, they sent us an email saying that like at one point there was a tornado that like engulfed one of the screens, and they still played it. So apparently
rain, shine. It's like the mailman's code.
So they kept going. They kept playing the movie, and it was a double feature. It was Halloween and Friday the 13th. So we go up. The movie starts. We are in David's van, and then all of a sudden we're like, wait, this isn't Halloween, because I'm the only one that had seen it before. And I was like, wait, this isn't Halloween. And apparently we didn't even see the advertisement or anything, but it was the new 2018 Halloween that they were showing.
Which, of course, has the very same name. So if you don't catch the year, you will get confused on which is which.
Yeah.
But since we were already there, we were like, all right, we'll just review this one instead.
And the names that they'd use, since it's the same name, that's about as confusing as the franchise itself.
Yeah.
To be honest.
This movie grossed $225 million on a $10 to $15 million budget, and apparently it made a couple bucks more tonight because of us. Presumably. It also has a Rotten Tomatoes score of 79%.
Yeah. That's generous.
That's
but
a lot
good
higher
job.
than I'm going to get
Good job
tonight.
for them. Yeah.
I don't think we have too many announcements today, other than we did have a photo shoot that we briefly mentioned last podcast, but I thought I'd highlight it again, with Shelby. And so if you're seeing our new logo, that is a product of that photo shoot, and we were very thankful to Shelby for doing that for us.
And we actually have a lot of photos, so we'll be making some other advertisements and promos here soon to send out.
We're stocked up for a while. But now, watch, botch, or top notch.
What do you think, David?
It's a hard one. I'd say it's a watch.
Okay. Why?
It's not like my favorite. I would say that.
But you
I would
tell
say
someone to
it's
watch it?
more of a watch. If you watch the original ones, you're gonna want to watch this one because it's just a sequel.
Yeah.
You'll enjoy it. I bet.
That's more for OCD though, like to have them all watch.
It's not
But
like
if someone hadn't
yeah.
seen the other ones, would you tell them to watch it?
I would say no, probably.
Okay.
It's like I would say it's like kind of a mediocre
Gotcha.
maybe.
What about you, Ben?
I would go more of a botch with this one, just because it's so unnecessary to ever watch this movie.
Well, isn't that? I mean, that's a lot of movies though.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're right.
It's not awful, though.
Based on by movie standards, I would also say botch, just because, again, the first Halloween is the most legendary Halloween. I've seen it. I really liked it. But I've also seen all the sequels, and I didn't really like any of them. I don't know why I kept going. But, yeah, so this one wasn't as good as the other sequels to me, in a weird way. So I think the only one that stood out to me was the first one. So I would honestly say botch, just because there are better Halloween movies out there.
But now, to explain this, we must first explain the plot, which we
Yeah,
took
good luck
no
with that.
notes on, and Zach was having a hard time watching it because he was in the front seat. So we're going to do our best here. I'll just say some stuff, and David and Zach will correct me if they think I'm wrong.
Basically, the whole plot could be like, obviously, Michael is trying to kill Laurie.
Michael Myers is the killer. He I think in the first Halloween, which I have not seen, he kills a bunch of people, but he does not kill Laurie. And so his whole motivation for coming back and trying to kill people is to kill Laurie, to get revenge. And he's in this prison, but there was a car wreck. He escapes prison. First kill is this not little boy. He's like
Oh, he kills the cop first, technically.
kills the cop, and then he kills a young boy who has happened upon the crash, and
The young boy kills his father on accident. That was
Yeah.
pretty funny.
Yeah.
Was it his father, though?
I don't know. It was somebody.
It was hard to tell.
They didn't really make that clear, because the father kind of disappeared. And they were both old and had that crazy gray hair.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. And it didn't show his father back, so I'm assuming it's his father. Correct me if I'm wrong, anyone,
Yeah.
but, you know.
We also meet Lori's family, who there's a lot of tension between Lori and her daughter, who I don't even know what her daughter's name is, to be honest. And her daughter's daughter.
Was it Karen or something?
Yeah, Karen.
Oh, yeah, it was Karen.
Karen and
Of course.
Allison. So those are important characters. Karen is Lori's daughter, and Allison is Karen's daughter, so Lori's granddaughter.
It really doesn't. You don't bother learning their names. They're not really that important.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So the granddaughter is like kind of upset about her mother cutting off her grandma, but her mother has felt like she was kind of not taken care of well or even abused as a child as a result of her mom trying to like prepare her for situations like being attacked by Michael Myers. And she was actually taken away from Lori as a 12-year-old. So there's a lot of family trauma as we head into Halloween night. And there's this whole subplot with Allison and her boyfriend and her
Yeah, for some reason they
boyfriend
took
ends
a
up
Halloween movie and added some teenage drama into it. Like,
yeah, her boyfriend
her
That added
starting
nothing
another
to the
girl.
movie.
yeah,
it added
started
nothing.
kissing another girl. He throws her phone in the
What was
the
that?
bowl
Punch
of
was-
punch,
yeah.
That
which
was
is
Punch?
that's the only thing that
That was
actually
Punch?
yeah.
Really?
Yeah, that was
Yeah.
the only thing out of
That
the
seems
entire
a little
conflict.
bit more creamy.
Yeah, that drove the plot. That was the only thing in that whole thing that drove
Yeah,
the
she just
plot.
didn't have her phone. So I guess that's kind of
And
a
Michael
plot hole
Michael
remover.
comes to town. He first kills these people who are trying to interview him. They actually went to prison to interview Michael when he was in prison. Now he's out of prison. He happens to meet them because they have his mask.
Which that was a genius idea about them. Like, let's go interview a serial killer and then like get really
And-
into his personal life.
And show him that we have his mask.
Yeah,
I don't-
he was shaking the mask right in front of him, trying to like awaken the killer back inside of him. Like, why?
Why? And they did that. It worked, but they ended up dying in a gas station bathroom. So
That's how you die. If you're Snoopy, you get killed.
yeah. So he kills a lot of people, kills this other teenage couple, kills some moms during trick or treat. It's very sad. Lots of people die with knife stabbings and so on and so forth. But we get to the point where Allison is with her good male friend. I don't even know what his name was, but this guy was kind of a simp.
Oh, he was definitely a
Was
simp.
it Dave?
Yeah,
Oh,
something
was
like
it?
that.
Oh.
And he's like acting all nice, and she just broke up with her boyfriend. But then he tries to like kiss her, and she was obviously really not sending any obvious signals. So this guy's kind of not a great dude. So that means that he ends up getting killed by Jason by being stabbed. And
Was it?
Oh, no, he got
no,
Jason?
not Jason. I'm thinking of the other movie that we
And
watched.
Jason wasn't even in the other movie.
No. Oh yeah. Whatever. Michael. And he's like, he gets stabbed by him, and then Michael sees Allison. Allison tries to run away, and she gets picked up by this cop and this guy who's like known for trying to understand Michael. And then finally they find Michael, and the police officer promptly runs him over, or like not runs him over, but hits him with his car.
They're very up to standards of how police operate and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's exactly what police do when they're
Yeah.
looking for somebody. They just hit them with a
Yeah,
car.
random.
I mean, I guess a serial killer, maybe you feel like you need to apprehend them. But the person who is trying to understand them for their how evil he is, the psychologist or something, I don't
Yeah,
even.
some sort of doctor.
Some sort of investigator. I don't even know what he is. He's a psychiatrist,
Interesting.
I guess. I think that's this guy.
Very specific one, I guess.
Yeah, and he is mad at the police officer, so he ends up actually killing him, I think,
Yeah.
in a struggle because he doesn't want to kill Michael, which seems kind of selfish. And then he, shockingly to nobody, ends up getting killed by Michael after he wakes up, and he basically gets the most brutal death in the entire movie. He gets like Michael just stomps on his head with a boot and completely obliterates his skull.
Yeah,
I like that one.
those were that was one of the few that they actually showed, because I felt like a lot of the kills in the movie were like hardly shown. It was just kind of dark.
Yeah, the whole movie was kind of dark. And we get Laurie's house. Laurie has brought her daughter, her husband, and not Allison, because Allison's trying to run away from Michael in the woods. But
Yeah.
Michael goes to Laurie's house instead of trying to chase after Allison. There's all sorts of traps and stuff and secret compartment doors set up at Laurie's house. They start out in the basement. Actually, they start out with Karen's husband being outside as the bait, apparently. I don't know whose idea that was. Seems like they were really ready to get rid of him, because he was just standing outside. And yeah, of course Michael kills him if you're just going to stand outside with this tiny little gun.
Oh, also the cop in this movie is the assistant coach from Facing the Giants.
No, wait. From Facing the Giants?
Or is it Remember
I think it's
Titans?
Remember the
It was
Titans.
Remember the Titans, yeah.
Wait, which one's the one where they're like crawling across the field? That one.
That's
guy?
Facing
That's
the
Facing the
Giants.
Giants.
Okay, so then it's not that one.
Yeah.
It's not that
Gotcha.
Not that one.
I always get them mixed up for some reason. Maybe it's the word the.
one. Yeah, probably. And they're both about football.
Yeah.
But anyway, they somehow, Michael gets into the house and is trying to kill them. He gets to Laurie, and he kind of plays mind games with her and gets her in a bad position, and she gets attacked by him and then thrown off the roof. And then he goes for Karen, and Karen, fortunately, is a little bit smarter and lets Michael come to her.
And we a little bit smarter, not
I think doesn't
Not a
she
lot.
kind of trick him at the end to get him to come?
Yeah, but yeah, that's true. To get him to come down, because she fakes pretending like she needs her mom or whatever.
Yeah,
But like
and then she does shoot him,
that's
but
something
that
when my brother was 5 years old, like he would do the same thing. So it's
it doesn't take a high
yeah,
like
IQ.
a thought process. Yeah, but Laurie is not dead, so they shoot Michael, but Michael, obviously, you need to do a little bit more than that. They already shot him in the hand earlier, and I shot him in like the shoulder. And so they get him down into this trap in the basement. So the basement turns into a trap, and then they light the entire house on fire. Get picked up by some random truck who I was expecting that to be some sort of serial killer too, but
Yeah, honestly.
I was expecting Jason to just pull up in the truck outside and
Jason?
why do I keep saying Jason?
I
Michael.
don't know. Oh, by the way,
Michael.
Michael is not Mike. It's not Mike Myers.
Mike
like
Myers.
Shrek or Austin Powers. It's Michael Myers, the killer.
Yes, not the Mike Myers who's in Inglourious Bastards.
We have had too many people, we've had too many people ask if it's the same guy from Austin Powers and Shrek.
It is not.
And also, it's kind of funny because we talked about this in the Baby Driver episode, that they said buy Michael Myers masks for the robbery that they did, and then they got Mike Myers masks.
Instead of Michael Myers, yeah, that was now we get it because I get what the mask was all about.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're right.
And the quote of the movie is pretty simple. Laurie says, "Happy Halloween, Michael." It's a good quote. It's a good way to. It's not funny. It's just a good way to sum up the movie. I wouldn't say it was a real happy Halloween, but whatever. Okay, guys, what are your favorite scenes from this movie?
Oh. I liked some of the killings were kind of lame. I liked most of them. The head getting stomped in, the curb stomping, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that was a good scene.
I'm not a sadist, but it was probably the most interesting part of the movie. Like the killings were.
That's kind of sad.
Yeah, well, that's kind of...
Well, that's the point of the movie,
Yeah,
though.
that's just what
Well,
it's about.
I feel like they made this one more into a story and had like plot lines rather than what they did in the first Halloween.
Which were pretty weak, but we'll get to that later.
True, yeah. I mean, they were definitely weak and they failed at it. But I think that they still tried it, so it has to be judged differently, maybe. So
Yeah. Favorite scene. Yeah, the action scenes were pretty decent, especially towards the end. Kind of kept my attention a little bit. Weren't the best, but they were good. The scenes with the trap. I don't know. What about you, David? Did you think?
Yeah,
anything?
I can't think of like any particular scenes that I think I hold above others. They're just kind of like any of the more actiony scenes. Like all the dialogue and that stuff just bored me to death, to be honest. So
Yeah, that's true.
Well, in the movie, doesn't their house burn down, Ben?
Yeah, the house burns down at the end, and this seems to be part of the plan. I really hope that Lori bought house insurance from Hedman Anglin Agency.
Really? What would happen if they did have house insurance?
Well, Lori would save probably about $500 on her car and on auto insurance, and possibly her house insurance too, if she called Hedman Anglin Agency.
That's pretty good because that thing burnt to a crisp. She
It definitely
needed some
did.
kind of insurance.
Call Hedman Anglin Agency today at 614-486-7300. That's 614-486-7300. If you do, make sure to tell them that Ben and Zach sent you. And also, hopefully your house is not set up to be a trap that burns down, but if you know that, you got to plan for the future.
Better be safe than sorry.
Better to be safe than sorry, that's for sure. Our outsider review has not been selected yet because we don't always plan ahead. So
okay, they're right
I'm just
there.
picking the first one from Jake Wilson, who writes for The Age. Sounds like a great magazine.
And again, we're going to choose a pessimist because, like we like to say, you can always be a pessimist.
Yes. Rather than having the camera move implacably down a faded path, Carpenter seems to be flexing his muscles along with his anti-hero, as if hoping to guarantee them both a place in the Horror Hall of Fame. I don't even know what this means exactly.
Jake Wilson from Australia at The Age.
He gave a 2.5 out of 5.
Look, this person gave it a 2.5 out of 4, so apparently there's different ratings.
Yeah, a lot of movie critics rate out of 4.
And
for
he just
some
said,
reason.
like literally, 8 words? He said, a solid addition to the Deathless horror franchise.
Yeah, this
Deathless.
you know what doesn't die in Halloween? The series.
Yes.
Oh yeah, that's for sure.
The movies themselves don't die.
The people in the movie die, but
For sure.
not the movie series itself.
Yeah, that's true.
So now we'll get to our scores.
And then Marvel movies, the movies don't die and the characters don't die.
Yeah, so then you just get a bunch of movies,
That's true. Okay,
like 3 in 1 year.
what's our next section?
We're doing our scores. So
Ooh.
without further ado, everyone pull up your scores, and David's gonna cheat and say one score
Off the
lower
top
than
of my
everybody.
head. Yeah, right.
That's what he loves to do.
You could ask me first if you prefer.
Okay,
Yeah.
David, what is your score, bud?
In what
For-
category?
Okay, let's.
Sentiment.
Sentiment? I don't know. 2.
2. Jeez, I gave it a 5.
Oh really?
You gave it a
Well-
5.
What? It's average.
I gave it a 3.
Yeah.
This
okay,
movie
fine.
meant
I
nothing to
haven't
me.
seen the original Halloween, so
I've
that,
seen
that
That's
could
That's
help.
true.
That's
Honestly,
probably
though,
why.
I feel like this is not that accurate. I should bump this down.
Oh, who
Am I
was-
allowed
who
to
was
do
this
that?
again?
Can I do that?
Sure, but that's
Yeah.
like cheating.
It's cheating. Okay, fine. It's a 5 for
That's
no
like when
reason.
you take a test and then they go over the answers and you change your answer.
I'm like, oh yeah, that's what I thought the whole time.
Sure.
Fine, you guys can make fun of me later.
All right.
Oh,
I thought it
wait.
was somewhat interesting, I guess.
Okay. What about message/moral?
A 4. I don't know why though.
Message? Yeah.
A revenge is the point of the movie.
Wow, that's a great one.
That's a good message.
Yeah, I would give it a 3, maybe.
Okay, I give it a 2.
Yeah.
That's my lowest rating yet. I didn't see a single message. Obviously,
Yeah, I didn't
revenge is
either.
there, but like, did they emphasize anything about revenge or even talk about revenge? Really? They like Lori said that she wants to kill Michael.
That's true. There's really
That's
not that
all
much
she
of a
wants
message.
to do. All Michael wants to do is kill Lori. All Lori wants to do is kill Michael. Neither of them kill each other, really. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just burning at the end. He'll probably survive, and they'll probably make a Halloween 2020 with the same name. You know?
Yeah, right.
Halloween 2020.
Yeah. Yeah. Very creative.
yeah.
So, what about plot?
A 5.
I'll give it a 5.
I give it a 4.
Yeah.
Points for trying.
Messy. Very messy.
Yeah, it was just kind of everywhere. I mean,
Trying to continue off of the first one. Because this movie retcons Halloween's 2 through whatever of the original series. Which there was already movies in the series that retconned earlier ones. Like Halloween
So
H2O.
they don't they like can't decide what they want to do with this series.
And
Or
now-
they make mistakes and then they're like, "Oh, we got to fix this."
Yeah, so in the original series, I forget, there's like maybe 6 movies or something like that. And then they made like another one to like retcon like the 3rd or 4th. And then they made this one to retcon all of them except for the first. So I guess the first is canon no matter what. And then the rest of the movies just depend on what timeline
Who
you
knows,
look
this
at.
one might get retconned.
That's true. And then there's also like there's like other there's like the versus. I know there's Jason versus Freddy movies. Is there one with Michael Myers, like a Michael Myers versus
I don't know
Jason?
that there is.
Maybe it's a different franchise.
I have no idea.
Because I know you're right about the Jason versus Freddy.
Mm-hmm.
Cinematography, I gave it a 7. Because, like, it was actually pretty decent.
Oh.
I'll give it a 6 just because, like, it was just a little bit above average, I thought. But the fact that it was just, like, entirely dark the whole movie, it made it kind of, like, confusing. I felt like they could have, like, at least made some things, like, more visible, like, so you can actually tell what's happening better. And, I don't know, it would help with the storyline, I thought.
Yeah, that might be true.
I gave it a 5. Maybe part of it could have been because I couldn't see the movie very well because I was like looking out a window. So
Yeah, that could.
Yeah.
He gave the movie theater a 5.
yeah.
Or the
The
drive-in.
ads in this place were really funny.
Oh,
they
my
were
goodness.
ridiculous.
They had ads between the two movies that we watched.
There
right
was an-
after Halloween and right before Friday the 13th. And they were definitely like homemade iMovie ads.
There was one for their flea market, and they would like just transition from like product to product that you could buy, and they would say something, and then like you'd see this picture, and then they would like just not say anything for like 5 or 10 seconds, it seemed like, and then they'd flip the screen, and then it was just the weirdest
And they went
thing.
through like every single thing that they had at the flea market. It was probably like a 5-minute
Need
ad.
some spare nuts and bolts? Oh, you can get them here.
And then they
Yeah.
talked about how they did a whole ad about how they got a third cash register.
Oh, my goodness.
It was like
Dude,
a really quiet
I
ad.
thought this place was a two register place.
Yeah, it was
and
like-
then we rolled in,
Yeah.
and I saw that. I was like, oh, thank goodness they got 3 cash registers.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, they literally it was like 7 years ago. They're like, 7 years ago we did renovations or something to this place.
Yeah, they
I was
said
like,
in 2013
Yeah.
we did renovations
it's like
to make it better
do
for
I
you.
care? Like, no, I don't.
Those- like I don't know if I feel like any other place that would have been like a joke, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But this was definitely a sketchy place. And
Yeah.
I really liked it. Like I would go back there. That's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, a lot of sketchy people around obviously and
Yeah, but it adds to the experience. If you're gonna go watch a horror movie, you might as well like feel like you're in one.
Yeah, hopefully next time it won't be raining and we're all
It
cramped
wa-
in the back of my van.
it was
but-
the perfect scenario for a horror movie. We were watching a horror movie.
Yeah.
We were in a van with a bunch of teenagers, and it was thunderstorming, and we were in a sketchy area.
Yeah. Perfect setup.
Honestly, that would be such a meta horror movie if there was a horror movie about like people who were watching a horror movie and then like
Uh-huh.
I don't know. That'd be something that was on Community probably.
Yeah, we should do that.
Okay, character arcs. I give
What,
character
like a-
arcs a 6 somehow.
I give 1? No, I don't.
Well, I
not
think
really
I
a
like
1,
the
but-
character arc of Lori.
Okay, I'll give
What-
it a 3 just because Lori. No one else had a
What
character
was
arc.
her character arc though?
I don't know, like from the other movie that I haven't watched.
So you're just basing it off of as an assumption of the first movie.
Yeah, this is the best I can do.
I gave it a 5, so Ben's not far off. She did okay in the first movie. I really like Jamie Lee Curtis. I loved the show Scream Queens. She was also what else was she in? She's in a couple other things, but
Her name sounds really familiar.
she's just really good at a lot of different things.
She was in The Fog, Prom Night, and Terror Train. So she's in a lot of horror movies.
She's in Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
She's also in Knives Out.
Yeah, she's in Knives Out. I knew that. She's won a Golden Globe and People's Choice Awards. So like she's very, very good actress.
And a Primetime Emmy nomination. Practically every actor has gotten one of those.
Yeah, nominations. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I really like Jamie Lee Curtis mainly because of Scream Queens, which she plays the dean, and yeah, I gave it a 6 or 5. I gave it a 5. You gave it a 6.
Yes. Originality. It's like a 4.
3.
No, like a 2 because this is like a sequel. Like they're just trying to like.
Yeah, they're just like they already completed it maybe with 3 movies, and then they kept adding more. So then they're like not original at all at that.
Yeah,
and then the fact that they even shoved another movie in that mix means that it's not original.
Yeah, no, it's the same
whatsoever.
thing except they try to add like a little bit of a plot to it, which failed miserably. So
Yeah, we don't need teenage drama in a Halloween movie.
yeah.
That is the exact problem actually with horror movies in general, is that it's really hard for people to come up with good ideas. It seems like because when they do come out with with what they think is a good idea or what ends up being successful, they just like milk like all they can out of the product until they can't make any more money. And after they made like 12 movies, then they're like, okay, it's time to move on to the next 12 movie franchise.
Right.
I mean, you've seen it with Saw, you've seen it with
Okay, the
Friday
Saw
the
movie. I will
13th.
say the Saw movies connect way better than any other horror movie franchise I've
okay.
seen.
That although that's probably true because a lot of times horror movie franchises do not connect very well.
Exactly. Like Saw is very loosely connected. It's very low budget, obviously crappy production, but like they do have very smart plots and very like every Saw movie has a twist that you never see coming. And that's a true fact. Oh, I said true fact. Dang it.
True facts with Zach.
Dang it. Okay. What about what's
Acting.
next? Acting 6.
No, I gave it a 6 too.
Yeah, I'll follow the trend 6.
I mean, I mean,
666. This is a
Oh,
Halloween
okay,
episode.
seven. Okay, there we go.
This is a Halloween episode.
I mean, the acting. I don't know that the cast is amazing or anything, but they weren't bad.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
There
one of my
were
favorites.
there were a couple lines that were a little bit not well delivered, but
Yeah, it was a lot better than Friday
There
the
was a
13th.
lot-
that's true. That's true.
Oh
It
my
was better
goodness.
than the acting in Friday
There's
the
a lot of
13th.
cringy moments. In
Yeah.
both movies.
Laughable, I would say.
Yeah, but Jamie Lee Curtis carries the movie, so that's basically the story of that.
What about style?
I mean, I guess 6. I gave it. I guess I gave it this because I like
I
the
gave
dark.
it a 6 also.
The dark, and because I mean, it has Michael Myers in it. I guess that's good for the style.
Sure.
5, I don't know, average, whatever.
And you
I'm
gotta.
not-
I guess you're factoring in. No, that's not in style really. Score. I gave score a 7, but I remember the score in Friday the 13th a little bit better. But I think this was good.
Okay, so I actually
I-
learned the Halloween one on piano.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I liked it. It's really easy.
I
It's
really-
just like 4 keys.
Really? I actually really like it, so I would give it an 8.
I gave it an 8 also because the Halloween, like that little piano, dun 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 dun
Yeah.
dun dun. That's like actually like well known throughout different.
Yeah, I recognized it. I've never seen this movie, but I recognized it
Yeah.
really easily.
So the fact that it's been recognizable across different platforms and people that haven't even seen the movie have heard it before means that it's a good soundtrack. Not okay, it doesn't mean that, but it means that it probably is. A
Yeah,
good
at least
soundtrack.
decent. So
So, and I think it's good because it's catchy and it goes with the movie. It's like intense, you know.
yeah,
I definitely agree with
yeah,
that.
I really like it.
Choreography.
I give it a 6.
I gave it a 6.
I can't give it a 6, so I'll give it a 5.
Okay.
This is average.
Like curb stomping scene, good.
It was weird.
A lot of the killings were good, but they didn't really show a lot, so
Yeah, there
it's
was
kind of hard to judge.
I will say the weirdest choreographed fight scene was the one in the bathroom where the girl's in the bathroom.
Oh yeah,
and-
that was really weird.
Because he comes in, he drops teeth on the floor, and then like she's crawling under the stalls, and then he like drags her out, and then he like, what does he do to her? Like,
I don't know, it was really awkward.
He's just beating her up, and then her husband or whoever she's working with,
Yeah,
I guess, I don't know who that is necessarily, comes in to try to like save her, and then
He got wrecked.
he got destroyed.
He didn't even put up a
Absolutely
fight, really.
Yeah, no, he got slammed against the side of the stalls and pretty much
Oh, yeah.
dismantled pretty quickly. And then he ends up like I think choking her to death or snapping her neck, one of the two. We don't see it on screen.
Yeah, like
But
most
that
of the
was
deaths in this
that was
movie.
kind of
Huh.
a weird fight scene, but nothing as bad as Friday the 13th in terms of choreography.
Oh my goodness, that was.
If
it
you want to
was
see some
we
really,
were laughing. I was laughing at least.
some fight scenes that are like very not super well coordinated.
Yeah, we don't
or
want to give away too much of that,
well,
but yeah.
let's
yeah,
get through
yeah.
the Halloween, and then we can actually talk about Friday the 13th a little bit. Just
Yeah.
a little bit since we watched.
So
it back to
what
back.
are our final scores?
I gave it. My total was a 48%.
And mine was a 56%.
Okay,
That's
what-
my lowest, I think.
Yeah, when I finished watching
No,
it, I
it's
was
not-
like,
it's not
I'm
what-
gonna give it like a 3 out of 10 or something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, like after thinking about it a little bit more, it wasn't like it was like that awful. I'd give it maybe a 40.
Do you think that has anything to do with watching Friday the 13th after?
No,
No.
I said I'd give it around a 45 to 50 when right after I watched it.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I didn't exactly know what I was going to rate that. So it ended up being rated where every movie that I ever watch is rated, which is 50 to 60%.
Yeah, it wasn't like that great. I would say that we all agree on that.
all right. What about?
It's time for
Our Brita moments.
Brita moments with Brita.
That was great. I like that.
The whole movie was a Brita moment. How many times have we said that?
It was a pretty well saturated Brita movie.
There was a couple.
It was funny because we actually saw a trailer for a movie with the actress Gillian Jacobs as
Yeah,
plays Brita
yeah.
in another Halloween movie, not Halloween brand, but like a different Halloween movie.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
remember any scene that was like especially like bad? I didn't like the first scene that much, where they were at the mental hospital and
screaming at him and
everyone
stuff.
was screaming.
Yeah, and I thought a big Brita moment was when he was just shaking that mask at him, trying to get him to like
Yeah.
get those serial killer tendencies back. I know he's just trying to like do like a character study about him, but that's so dumb. You're like poking a line with a stick. It's like stupid.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, Aaron Corey is the true crime podcaster. If you're gonna be a true crime podcaster, don't that means that you talk about crimes that already happened, that you don't have to go like interview people
And
for.
podcast is audio, so just send a drone over there, like FaceTime him or something.
Yeah, like don't why would you endanger yourself like that? He's such an idiot. And I was saying that a lot. Of course, if you can find a horror movie that's full of smart people, then there wouldn't be a horror movie because they wouldn't be
Yeah,
dead.
they would just
Amen.
leave.
That's very profound. Very
Yeah.
Yes. I'm trying to think of other Brita moments.
This wasn't exactly. This was more of like, I don't know. I don't know if this would count as a Brita moment, but I thought it was stupid how they were just transporting like felons in a bus, like a school bus. Like, what the heck was that?
And that it just crashes.
It was like, whoops, I crashed.
If I was transporting Michael Myers, who's supposedly the scariest person on the face of the planet, I'd be like bringing the National Guard tanks in
Yeah, come on, like this.
to transport him. I would not just send him in some willy-nilly like bus. I don't know what these people were doing.
Yeah, and it said that the other people weren't like that bad or something like that. They said that some time in the movie though. They
So
were
why
like,
is Michael Myers
yeah,
with
why?
them?
Yeah, that's my thing. Like, why is he with them? Like, he should be on a different category at like least if he's not his own category, for crying out loud. So
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
so true.
I
This whole
thought that
movie
was
didn't need to happen because they should have just shipped him in a different
yeah,
container.
Yeah. All right. Let's go to our annual. I say annual, but I mean weekly. Stock market.
Stock market.
Discussion.
What? Okay, so let's start with the Halloween franchise.
well,
I'm gonna take my stock out unless they get like I don't know
I don't know whether okay.
Robert Pattinson.
I guess we say sell when in a way of like if we don't like it to sell it. In the real life stock market, if something has already tanked down to the point where it's not worth very much, selling it
maybe
won't help
buy
you
it
a
because
whole
it
lot.
can't go any lower.
That's
Yeah.
true. Maybe I would short this.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess when we talk about stock market, maybe next time we should like talk about this too. That we should see like we're not saying that we like it or hate it right now. We should be saying like, will it be better in the future? And, should
And
we
some of the
invest?
movies that are older, we have more of an advantage because we can see what see what happened after the movie. So like with Pete Docter and everything, like we were talking last week. But I think I would pretty much a lot of the people in this movie, like John Carpenter, is probably at the tail end of his career. I would imagine. Jamie Lee Curtis, honestly, I would probably buy stock in.
I
her.
would buy some stock in her. The only thing is she's kind of old.
Yeah, she's
yeah,
getting
so
older.
yeah.
I didn't really particularly like
Anyone.
Judy Greer or anybody else who was in this
Yeah,
movie.
there wasn't that many people. There was that one kid that I thought was really annoying in it.
Yeah.
And what I never like really explained what happened to him. He just like both of those guys died, and then
You're
he
talking
Yeah.
about the one that was being
the babysat, right?
Babysat.
Yeah. What happened to that kid anyway?
I don't remember. He just ran away and he said, "Oh, you're gonna get killed," and that's the
Yeah.
last time you see him.
Yeah.
But the only like it feels like in a Halloween movie, it's like after all these years, you're finally you're making another Halloween movie. It's been a while, you know, but you couldn't get a better cast than that.
That's true.
Yeah.
Of course, horror movies have never been known for their like amazing casts. I don't
Yeah, but it
think.
could have been like a cool thing. They could have brought in like a couple memorable actors to play large roles, and then it
Yeah.
could have been like how what did they do? I'm trying to think. I'm just thinking of like Split or Unbreakable or something like that. They brought in big names for those, and now those are memorable. And like, I guess it's M. Night Shyamalan, and they had a lot of better twists than
Wait.
a Halloween movie.
So in Halloween, there was a 2007 remake of Halloween
Oh
that
my
was
goodness, I
directed
didn't know
by
that.
Rob Zombie,
Yep,
and a second one.
yep.
Huh.
But that's not part of the original.
So that's not
timeline.
part of the original timeline,
No.
and nothing to do with this.
Yeah. So
Interesting.
when I say it's been a while, I mean not including Rob Zombies.
Okay, so I'm guessing those didn't turn out too good. Not too bad.
Isn't Rob
but-
Zombie known for being like kind of more gory in his like in his style of making movies? I know he's somewhat controversial, because he did that one like the house of 1,000 corpses or whatever. That was kind of crazy. Yeah, so I imagine those are interesting, but probably didn't necessarily get critically successful.
Is this Halloween movie by Blumhouse?
Like the production company?
Yeah.
No, it's actually Miramax.
Really?
You would not have wanted to buy stock in Miramax.
Oh, but it's also
because that's
Blumhouse.
Harvey Weinstein's company.
I know.
Obviously,
Yeah.
Harvey Weinstein has been found to be a very bad person, and hopefully will be in jail for a long time. I don't know about Bob. He seems okay, but who knows? Something could come out about him later. But yeah, Blumhouse must have like been bought by Miramax or something.
Yeah.
Huh.
Well, moving away from politics.
Yeah, moving away from Harvey Weinstein.
Of course.
Now that we've gotten through the stock market, we got feedback. I was talking to somebody last week who said they really enjoyed our episode on the lovebirds.
Oh, we should just keep track of people texting us and talking to us
Yes.
too, just so we don't seem like we're really lonely. over
Yeah,
here.
and I really appreciated that. And I got a couple of texts from people talking about
the Fall Girl.
the Fall Girl episode. That was people really liked our takes on Fall Girls and weren't too offended.
Yeah.
We weren't trying to offend anybody.
My friend told me it was the best his favorite episode that he's heard, and then I had 2 other people tell me it was their favorites. So go listen to that.
Go listen to that if you haven't.
It's basically just talking about how to be a basic girl in the fall. You know, like we'll give you a little hint. You gotta get that warm. Not warm. Wait, is it pumpkin spice latte? Can you
Yeah.
get it warm or cold?
No, I think it has to be warm.
Yeah, I've never heard
It's
of a
not a-
cold pumpkin spice.
Well, I got an iced pumpkin spice latte.
Oh, really?
What?
Yeah,
That sounds disgusting.
I got one at Tim Hortons and I got one at OSU.
On Earth? Okay,
I've
I
never
don't know
heard
what
of
that's
that.
about, but you know.
I guess you can do that if you want to. All right, so before we get to conclusions, I think we should talk about Friday the 13th for just a tiny bit.
Okay.
So we watched Friday the 13th after we watched Halloween. Now Friday the 13th was made in 1980, so a much older movie. Also, shout out Stanhope, New Jersey, which was featured in it. My last name's Stanhope, so
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was hyping that up to us. He was like, "Yo, we gotta show you this part," and it was just like his last name written on the side of a bus. But you know,
It was
so
super
lame.
exciting.
It was so lame. We thought it was gonna be like this big moment or something, but it was just like his last name on a truck in the movie.
yeah,
Yeah, well, you never see my last name anywhere, so
yeah,
Yeah.
he's not wrong. He's not wrong.
Okay, so I will say initial reactions after watching this movie, Friday the 13th. What kind of person is associated with Friday the 13th? Oh, Jason.
Jason Voorhees, the hockey mask guy.
Oh, who's not in this movie? Oh, also Jason.
No, he is in this movie.
Yeah, for about 10 seconds.
Okay, also
Yeah.
spoiler. Okay, we're gonna spoil a lot of Friday the 13th, so skip the next minute if you don't want to hear spoilers. Jason. Well, Jason. We'll just say Jason is in part of the movie.
No, Friday the 13th. The villain in Friday the 13th is Jason's mom.
Yeah,
Yeah, she's kind of a Karen.
Friday
not
the
gonna
13th.
lie.
Yeah.
Be afraid of Karens.
Be afraid of Karens. Oh, the ending where Karen gets decapitated. Whew, what an ending! That was
Yeah.
amazing.
I want to
Um,
make a gif of
is-
all Karen. Never mind.
Is Friday the 13th worth your time?
No.
It's historically.
if you watch the last 20 minutes,
It's
maybe.
historically valuable, but it is very weak in terms of acting. Very weak in terms
No,
of
so-
acting.
entirely.
everybody-
Very
getting
weak in
picked-
terms of plot.
Yeah, everybody's getting picked off one by one. It's like this summer camp with all these teenagers and blah blah blah. Which Kevin Bacon's in it for some reason.
Yeah, some odd reason he's.
They all
in there.
have like the IQ of a toaster or something like that because they can't. Because
Why do you
they
think
all
they're at
die.
this camp?
Yeah, that's true. They need to
Yeah.
learn some stuff. Anyway, they go around. They're
Well, they're
getting killed off
counselors,
one by
weren't
one.
they?
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
training, and then they were
Yeah.
helping to rebuild this camp.
Yeah.
Everybody dresses weird in this. There's a lot of weird outfits going on.
Yeah, and like a lot of people, like especially towards the beginning, just weren't like wearing shirts, and that wasn't really explained.
Yeah, there's like a lot of, let's just say some clothing was missing in some parts.
yeah,
Yeah, that's why they died though, because and a lot of their actions were kind of not responsible, and that led to their deaths.
I always
The
say
one
skimpiness will get you dead.
the one girl who like was kind of the girl who didn't really do anything wrong ended up surviving. So I guess that is the moralistic point of Friday the 13th.
Whatever.
I'm not
Whatever
really
you want to
sure.
derive from that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
The
so-
two that died in the beginning, it was like we didn't even hear about them. They just kind of like died, and it was like, okay, welcome to the movie. Now they'll start.
But so the part that got me about this movie is like you go throughout this movie thinking like, oh, okay, Jason's gonna come out, Jason. But that's just because obviously when that movie came out, nobody was thinking Jason. But now that Jason's like world renowned and everything, you watch that movie, you're thinking like, oh, Jason's killing these people. You get to the very last like 20 minutes or so, it reveals that Jason's mom, Mrs. Voorhees, which looks like a Karen who's been killing all these people one by one. And then she talks about how her son Jason drowned at this summer camp, blah blah blah. And then at the end, after the one girl that didn't do anything wrong, she survives and she's in a canoe, like just sleeping or moping around or whatever. And all of a sudden, this like zombie comes out of the water and it's Jason pulling her under, like the kid that drowned all those years ago. And then she wakes up in a hospital, like, oh, it's all a dream, but not really, because she actually remembers that zombie pulling her in. And then the cop's like, oh, we didn't see that. And then she goes, oh, then he must still be there.
yeah,
And then it leaves it on for like a sequel, whatever. So.
Which there were 6 sequels, and then like a reboot. I don't even know with Friday the 13th. None of them are worth watching, I imagine. The first one was barely worth watching. So that one was definitely a botch, even though I've seen it twice in my life. So
Yeah, I would say I would agree with that.
that's a botch unless you consider it for historical value.
Yeah, I guess so. It was.
I don't know. I thought it was kind of funny if you
That's
if,
true.
if you look
I
at
think
it from that perspective.
If you look at it from that perspective, yeah.
Yeah, if you don't mind that Jason's not in it, then watch it. Whatever.
All right, so our conclusion on this episode is that we didn't watch the original Halloween. We were not necessarily satisfied with the remake. Friday the 13th is a little bit overrated. And is there anything else?
Nope, that's it. I think.
Yeah, I don't want to say anything else about it or I'm going to rant. But we do want to say, as the Movie Vault podcast, we wish everyone a happy Halloween. And
Stay safe out there. Have a good time.
yeah,
Hopefully, spooky season will be a happy one for everybody.
yeah.
And you can text us or email us your Halloween traditions on our social media if you want to.
Only if you want to.
Only if you want to. If you don't want to, I mean,
We're not going to force
We're not
you.
going to
you
or
know?
are we? We might force you. I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
It is Halloween.
It is Halloween after all. So follow at the Movie Vault Pod on Instagram, at Movie Vault Pod on Twitter. Email us at themovievaultpod@gmail.com. And just anything that you want. And to keep up with what we're doing on the podcast.
And next week we will be watching a movie called one of Ben's favorites.
One of my favorite movies, Donnie Darko. And we will be watching, it's around the week of Halloween when it'll be released. I guess it'll be released actually a couple days after Halloween. But Donnie Darko is a movie that takes place during Halloween. It's not necessarily a horror movie, although it has some aspects of that. Maybe
It's kind of like Die Hard
little-
being a Christmas movie.
Yeah, yeah, it is like that. But it's probably one of the better Halloween movies in terms of like an actual plot. And Richard Kelly's masterpiece. He's never done anything good since Donnie Darko, so you gotta enjoy it when you're on top while you can. And Drew Barrymore's in it, and she helped get it done. But we'll talk about that next week. And so with that, I think that's like all we have left.
David, would you like to close the vault, buddy?
I will try to.
Okay.
Will you guide me?
Yes, I will guide you, Padawan. Okay, it is now time to close the vault.
Jason jump scare!